A boy who used to laugh all day suddenly stopped talking to everyone. He sat alone in a dark room, thinking about something no one could understand. Then one day, Gautam Buddha came to stay outside the town for a few days. The boy's father, filled with hope, took him to meet Buddha. The boy sat quietly near him for a long time, silent, until he finally shared his pain. And Buddha, with his warmth, listened carefully. He spoke. Buddha, I want to share what's inside and ask you a question. Why is it that some people succeed despite hardships, while others keep struggling with the same problems? Buddha asked. Why do you ask this? The boy said, I've worked so hard for 2 years, trying to achieve something, but I've failed. Every day feels like I'm a failure. Please show me a way to stop being held back by my troubles. Gautama Buddha sat in silence for a moment, then said, Let me tell you a story. Once there was a king. He was brave and had a charming personality. His people loved him, and his presence brought joy. But one day, war broke out. Invaders attacked his kingdom. The battle lasted 11 days. The king saved his country, but he lost a part of himself. He lost a leg and an eye, and his face was left scarred. The scar was so terrible that no one dared look him in the eye. The king one day wandered the palace, looking at portraits of his ancestors. He wondered, how will my portrait look compared to theirs? Will they see my bravery, or just my scars? The next day, he called all the painters to the court and gave them 2 conditions. The painting must be completely realistic, and it must inspire future generations. But the painters were terrified. How could they show the king as he was, with his leg lost and his face scarred, without making him seem ugly? No one dared to take on the task. Frustrated, the king pointed to a young painter and said, You, young man, will bring me a painting in 5 days, or else there will be consequences for all of you. On the 6th day, the court gathered. The young painter walked in, holding his painting under a cloth. When the cloth was lifted, silence fell over the room. Then, the hall erupted in applause. The painting showed the king riding a magnificent horse, his leg hidden behind it, and his eye closed as he aimed an arrow. The king's flaws were invisible, and his bravery shone through. The king, astonished, asked the young painter, How did you manage this when all the experienced painters gave up? The painter replied, At first, I was scared. I wondered why I was in this position, but I decided to stay calm and focus on your bravery. I isolated myself, stayed quiet, and gradually saw your courage in your wounds. I began to imagine you riding a horse, and that gave me the strength to finish the painting. When Buddha finished the story, he turned to the boy and said, Every answer you sought is here in this story. Let's start with the first one. Most of us make plans, set goals, and work hard. But when we face difficulties, we often turn away, get discouraged, and give up. Buddha said, whether in life or spiritual growth, never turn away from difficulties. When you turn away, you lose your connection to your strength, and fear takes over. Life becomes a burden. The boy was startled by this, realizing he had been running from his challenges. And Buddha said, You cannot control what happens to you, but your reaction is always in your hands. The boy asked, What is the best way to react? Buddha replied, When life is hard, stay calm and observe. Watch your thoughts, your emotions, and the situation. Just as the boy in the story did, remain calm as difficulties grow. And when you do that, a way out will reveal itself. The boy, seeing the king's flaws, saw beyond them and noticed the bravery in the king's scars. Buddha explained, the art of life is to see beauty in everything, even in the toughest of situations. It's about developing the art of observing without judgment. The boy asked, What should I do next? Buddha replied, Look at the challenges around you, not as obstacles, but as opportunities. Look at the struggles, not with judgment, but with understanding. Soon, you will see greatness in everything. Buddha then said, Your vision shapes your reality. The moment you choose to see challenges as opportunities, new paths and energy will begin to open up in your life. Swami Vivekananda once said, "Nothing can be achieved without focus. All progress comes from concentrated effort."